and welcome everyone to the Leaders of Leader podcast. My name is Diana Daniels, YPO Greater Europe, and I am the CEO and founder of Kronos Group, working in telecom, labor, and financial inclusion. And it is my absolute pleasure to be hosting of the Leader of Leaders podcast, brought to you by the YPO Leadership Development Network. Today, we have a very special guest because I am sharing the platform with these amazing women that is incredible mother and even more compassionate and successful leader for our YPO community. Hello, Olena Malysnka. How are you?
Hello, Diana.
Olena, she's the chapter chair of YPO Kyiv and the CEO of Women Political Leaders, a global network of women politicians. Olena began her career as an auditor with Arthur Andersen, working in Ukraine and in the United States, and continued her career in financial institutions and has more than 20 years of experience in top executive positions in Ukraine and international banks operating in Ukraine. Over the last 10 years, Olena has been the CEO of large and medium Ukrainian banks and is one of the very few women CEOs in the banking industry in her country. So welcome again, Olena. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Diana. My pleasure.
So, well, listen, we all know that war brings constraints that can force many to change. And today, in our world, the fate of many, including business leaders in Ukraine and even in Russia, has changed from one day to the other. In the corporate world, business also can find themselves in a competitive war. CEOs could learn either one thing or two from what has been happening in Ukraine and with the Ukrainian military commanders. This is according to many scholars from top Western universities. And today, that is why we invited you, Olena, because you as a chapter chair of YPO Kyiv and the CEO of this amazing organization for women political leaders, we wanted to talk to you about how to be a leader in times of uncertainty. So tell us, Olena, in your perspective, what does it mean for you to be a servant leader during these times of war?
I would say that we don't choose what we live through. It just happens. And I can honestly tell you that I remember the very first seconds when it happened, I was honestly paralyzed with fear, with non-acceptance, with really I couldn't comprehend that it is happening. And I see these images and I talk to my family and I know the disruptions, what is happening. So it was totally unbelievable. But probably as YPO community, we got used to act, right? We don't just supervise. We don't allow ourselves to be paralyzed with any feelings. Immediately, like on the first day of war, on 24th of February in the morning, after this initial shock was, still happening, but I was just trying to pull myself together. I felt an immediate urgency to do something. To act, to start calling people, to start activating all the connections that I had, writing letters, getting in touch with people, in parallel finding out what's happening. So I would say that I think it's part of the values and of the spirit of CEO to see, to draw conclusions, not to let yourself be emotional, but just to pull yourself together and start acting. And actually by acting, I mean, whatever is the biggest priority for you. For me, it's people. The biggest concern, the biggest fear was around people. What is happening? How can we help? What are the possibilities to help, right?
Yeah, I guess that obviously, we cannot compare the horrors of what is happening in Ukraine to many other conflicts in the world, but each leader for sure has passed or will pass a moment where they will be faced with an uncertain scenario. So what could it be a practical advice for those leaders that are themselves in turbulent time or in this terrible situation? What can you tell them?
I don't think I have the recipe. And, we all have been going through the last few years through the complete uncertainty, right? It all started with COVID. Nobody could understand what was happening, how to react, what to do. And then it went on. And now we are in the middle of the biggest historic event for so many years, just a total complete change around. So actually, I can tell you my personal opinion, what I do and how do I try to comprehend and act. And for me, this is, trusting myself, because now we see that just, critically assessing the situation. And there is no any book that would, for me, that would tell you how does it happen, what do you do, what is the recipe, what do you learn, how do you react in the war. Probably they are, but we never read them. At least I didn't. So for me, it was, I tried to understand the situation. I tried to find out how do I relate to this. And usually it's one of the leadership skills that I really actively stand for, is not to be afraid to come to a different conclusion that others are coming. To be fearless from, the general common flow is, but to come up with what your instincts tell you, what your rationale tells you, and actually be ready to move. That was something that was happening with many of us. And in Ukraine, we lived through many big events. And for example, in 2014, with the Revolution of Dignity, I was in charge of the big bank in Ukraine. And you can imagine that it was the whole disaster, banks failing, currency depreciation, annexation, war. So nobody from us knew how to act, and what was these instructions that would tell you in these circumstances, you do this or that. But just, putting the facts together, making your judgment call, and be ready to do something that others maybe are not doing or not understanding or not in favor of. And I think that probably differentiates real leaders who are ready to take unpopular and unobvious decisions and move.
This is very interesting, because I guess that we've experienced this also inside of YPO, right? Sometimes the decisions that we have to make are unprecedented. We never faced the same situations maybe in many of our lives. And here we are, many of us are together, the response of many of the leaders in our organization had just came on board and be there and helpful. So I see this.
And, I would like also to comment on this. Actually, I can even now recall every single SMS and calls that I have received on the first day of war. I can tell you how did the first WhatsApp group happen, and how all these wonderful people, you actually including, they were standing up, coming together with concrete ideas and actions, some emotions, but we actually were able to put a group together, a team, to decide who is dealing with which areas, how to move on. And this, I think, is just a great example of collective power and wisdom, and without any instructions, being able to stand up and to make a choice and to contribute to the unknown people. I mean, YPO Ukraine is a small chapter. We're only 32 members, but I felt like so much YPO community was just standing behind, and it made me so proud. Like each individual member who was there and who are still there, it just enormous power, and it gives so much inspiration. It really does.
Yeah, thank you. We all feel also very inspired by you and the members of YPO Kyiv Ukraine that are just right there, supporting each other, and we are just privileged to have the opportunity to support you well. So let's going to change gears a little bit, and then we have to that time where we're going to talk about the 10 quick and rapid fire questions. It's super easy. This will give you an idea. Yeah, don't get nervous. We'll give you an idea on who you are as a leader. And what I ask you, Olena, is that you just say whatever it comes to your head, to your mind. I promise it's going to be fun.
Okay.
All right? You ready? All right.
Yes.
So let's do it. Are you a morning or a night person?
Both. I don't sleep recently, right? I wake up too early and go bed too late. So both.
Okay. That's a good answer. Why not? So what is the best compliment that you ever received?
Of course, these are like women compliments. I wouldn't even pretend something else. So thank you.
Alrighty. So what is the most important thing that you've learned in your career?
I think for me, in my career, what I told and tried to tell before was ability to make decisions, ability to act differently, and actually not being like compromises sometimes are really harmful. So I would say be ready not to be liked. So
I see.
yeah.
Be ready to not be liked, but doing the right thing. So let's gonna think about when you were 6 years old. What was your dream job?
Okay, I was supposed to be a very famous journalist or write some very famous book, which would then have been filmed and I would receive some Oscar. Of course, not as an actor. I didn't go that far, but as a screenwriter, it was.
Listen, we're never too late for that. Just think about this, all right? And when we're thinking about the job that you did, either in banks or in the recent one with the women organizations, how would your kids describe what you do for a living?
Okay, so my kids got used for me to be a banker, so they would just definitely tell you like banking or managing people. So that would be two options I will tell.
So they did understand it very well, what it was kind of like banking and what it was your job.
Yeah, they do understand well about money, so they do.
Beautiful. So if you could have a billboard with anything on it, this big signs like in the highways, what would you put on it? Let's
now?
think that you have it like, now. Yeah, why not?
Now I would put act now and stop the war in Ukraine. This would be the only one I would think about now.
I understand that. And then is there anything that makes you feel inspired? That one little thing that makes you feel like you want to do some changes or make a difference?
Sense of achievement inspires me even more. So, when you have the small victories that we all have, I'm ready to just crush everything on my way, just to have it more and more, just for the good, something really meaningful.
What will be something that people seem to misunderstand about you?
That I'm tough. I'm actually very nice, I think.
You are very nice. That I know. You are super nice. Super nice.
Thank you.
All right. So if you will need to resume your book, remember you might write a book or a movie, right? What it will be, it's about your life. So what it will be the title of the book?
Don't give up.
I like it. All right. Final question. It's some time ago. I won't say how many years, but you're 18-year-old. You're facing your 18-year-old. What would you tell her?
Actually, as I say, being 18-year-old, I never dreamed I would have a career that I have, that I would achieve what I have achieved. So I would say, dream big, don't be afraid.
I love it. This is fantastic. Thank you, Olena. I know that you are just super busier than ever, and I appreciate you coming here to share with us a little bit about you, but also great advices in how to become a better leader in times of turbulence. You are a true example of servant leadership, and regardless of your personal situation, that you have put yourself right in the top and in the front of our community in these tragic times. So we really thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for coming with us.
And thank you very much. And thank you to all the YPO members who I met for the first time during this awful almost 3 months, and who really inspired me and gave me courage and gave all of us, like all of our YPO members, but so many others who you've been able to help, ability to believe that there are so many good and honest people who are standing by their values. And it's really, really inspiring. So I thank you from all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Olena. And for all of you, I want to invite you to the next episode of Leaders of Leaders. This has been brought to you by the Leadership Development Network in YPO. I am Diana Daniels, and I will be happy to see you once more time next time right here. Stay tuned. See you soon.